Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of On the School Bus with Dr. Spates. Typically, I record the introduction after we've actually done the episode, and I have to tell you, I'm on this incredible inspiration high right now after talking with Kat Shaw. She is powerful, she is confident, she is her authentic self. She shows up with who she is. And it is perfectly aligned with who she is there to serve. You're going to love this episode of On the School Bus with Dr. Spates, but let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a former Teacher of the Year who has spent over 2 decades in the trenches of Title I schools. Known to her community and followers as the Tatted principal, she brings raw, authentic, and a modern edge to educational leadership. She is the executive director and principal of Howard Gardner Community School, where she has transformed the campus into a true sanctuary by integrating a food pantry, laundry facilities, and her viral therapy dog, Thunder, a mission that has recently caught the attention of Fox 5 News. A doctoral candidate maintaining a 4.0 GPA, she specializes in trauma-informed educational practices, a field she knows intimately not just as a researcher, but as a former foster youth herself. With a master's degree in behavioral health and over 15 years of clinical experience, she is also a certified wellness coach and the founder of Recommitted Consulting. You are going to love hearing from this leader who proves that lived experience is the ultimate credential. The Tatted principle. Get to know, get excited. Here is Kat Shaw. Let's go. Welcome to On the School Bus with Dr. Space, the podcast dedicated to advancing creativity and innovation in education. Each week, we invite educators, innovators, and creatives from across the country doing the real work in schools to hop on the school bus with me, Dr. Space. Together, we explore what's working. Whether you lead from an office, a classroom, or anywhere in between, this podcast is your vehicle for creative ideas, bold leadership, and strategies that have been put to the test where it counts in schools. Because our children, families, caregivers, and communities are counting on us to equip the next generation for success. Let's go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of On the School Bus with Dr. Spates. Today, I have the incredible Kat Shaw. I'm so excited to learn from her. We're going to be learning together, you guys, in real time. I had the opportunity and blessing to meet her at a conference that we were at that connected to the California Genius Initiative, and we got to sit at the same table together and just learning about the work that she was doing. I was like, will you be on my podcast, please? So thank you so much for agreeing to be on with us today.
Yes, thanks for having me.
In your words, who is Kat Shaw?
I am a wife, a mother, an educator. I'm the Tatted principal. I am
Oh,
someone who loves kids no matter where they come from and who they are, and I respect them, and I try to meet them where they're at. I am always a learner in
mm.
the scheme of life.
Yes, I love that. The Tatted principal. How cool is that? How did you get that nickname?
Oh my gosh. Well, I am covered with tattoos.
Love it.
I have my whole body is like a little map of where I've been and who I am and what I love. And tattoos are often seen as like, oh, they may not be educated or have a good profession. And so I wanted to show that like you can be top dog and an awesome professional person and well educated and
Yes,
still have amazing art on your body. So I put the two together. My tattoos are important and so is my principalship. So I
I
am
love
a
that.
principal.
I love that you like sort of embody that idea of being like authentic and being exactly who you are. I love that. Thank you so much. All right. So I have a bazillion questions. Alrighty. So if you can share with us, because we understand you are the executive director of Howard Gardner Community School. So can you tell us about your journey from teacher, and it may not have started at teacher, but just your journey into the executive director role?
Absolutely. So I have been in education about 24 years now. Oh gosh,
Okay.
you age yourself, you know?
I
Um,
know.
and I've done all
Everybody else is
roles.
getting older, not
I
us.
know. This is true. This is true. I started as an instructional aide. And, right while you're doing college and stuff and just diving into the classroom and loving the classroom environment.
Mhm.
And then quickly I became a teacher. And then I was a special education teacher
Mm,
for a long time. And I had one principal that said, "You need to be a principal."
mm.
And I questioned if that was doable for me, if I was good enough to lead others in that capacity. But under his leadership, I said, okay, let's try it. So I
Wow.
became a principal. I entered National University's admin program and
Wow.
I got my admin credential. And there was this position opened up in our high school district. And I took it as a program specialist for special
Okay.
ed. And I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
so cool,
Yes.
because then I can be an administrator and a
Mhm,
special ed role
mhm.
and my 2 passions at the time, and so
Yes.
yes, right? And I got in that work, and 2 months later, a school opened up, Reach Academy,
Okay.
and it's a special ed academy in
Wow.
this county, San Diego,
Okay.
and they needed somebody to step in as, an interim principal, and they were all the kids who got expelled that had the special ed,
Mm.
so they had an IEP,
Wow.
and or their school just could not handle them, and they didn't wanna
Mm.
do, like, a non-public school, so they were like,
Mhm.
"You can go to that school." So
Okay.
my campus had gang members from all
Mhm.
different gangs, okay?
Mhm.
We
Wow.
had a 9th through 12th grade, all different nationalities. We had everybody on our campus, and we were
Wow.
all told to get along and educate. And
Make that happen.
yes, and I was like,
Wow.
"What is happening?"
Yes.
But excited, right? So I
Yes.
went there and it was chaos.
Mm.
We had
Mhm.
911 call after 911 call,
Yeah.
and it took one moment of me protecting them for them to see she's different.
Mm.
Here for us, she really believes in us,
Mm.
and after that moment occurred, I I had their belief. And so
Wow.
then it was, "Hey, what I need us to do is understand that while you may wear different colors outside these gates, in here, this is my house, okay? And we're not gonna play
That's
that
right.
game."
That's right.
And, we all we all got together, and within my 2nd year there, we didn't have suspensions. It was really calm
Wow.
and kinda like kumbaya, so
Wow.
we developed a reach out program, and we took the kids who everybody would be scared of
Mhm.
and put them in some polo shirts and had
Yes.
them work at elementary schools, and
Wow.
everybody was like, "They're the best," they're doing, like, art
Yes.
and everything, um,
Oh.
and that's when I learned I can do this. I can be a principal, but I can also transform people's, like, mindsets of you are good enough. You can
Yes.
be successful. I left there to get this position at Howard Gardner, who is looking for a transformational leader, who's looking for somebody to come in, maybe, ruff some feathers and then get us on track. And I had applied. It's a TK through 8th. So going
Okay.
from this
Okay.
school to here, I thought, I'm going to get love. I'm going to get hugged. I'm
Yes,
going to,
'cause all the littles, yes.
yes, it's
Middle
going to
school
be,
can be touch and go, but
but you always have the littles to run to, right?
yeah.
It's great. I I was longing for those moments, so I was like,
Yeah.
"That's where I wanna be." So I got this position July 2024. In
Okay.
October 2024, I got a notice of concern from the county office saying, "You have a year, from this letter to turn your school around and get um, 10 points up on your CASP state scores and get attendance up, or we're going to close you."
Okay, wait. Okay. So 10 points is huge. That's
Yes.
almost an unrealistic expectation where I think of my school context and we like in math, we've grown like 2
Mhm.
points for like the last 3 years. And then last year we had a good growth year, like 4.96. So 10 That's almost unrealistic, but you've said so much. We have to come back to Howard Gardner because your work at Reach, like I feel like I need you to say more about that. Um, to turn around any school is an incredible feat, but working with the students who I'm sure feel a sense of rejection, like their comprehensive campuses don't want them, students who may have academic confidence issues because they have an IEP and um, I mean, that's very educators are humble. I always tell people that. That's not easy to like walk into that setting, but to transform how students connect with one another and like clearly how they see themselves is huge. Can you like go back and talk about how, like, what are some practices or like things you put in place at that school? Because that's incredible. I need to take some more notes on that situation.
Okay, you started off by saying, like, my tattoos were my authentic self.
Yes.
That is who I was at Reach. I was
Okay.
my authentic self. I
Um,
did not code switch. I did
um,
not do any of the uppity things and use all the fancy big
yes.
words, and I came in and said, they looked at each other to fight.
Mhm.
I said, "Hey, hold up. What are you doing?" Right?
Mhm.
I had that mama bear in me, but I also had the hood. I had the
Yeah.
don't we're not
We're
doing
we're
that.
versatile,
Right,
okay?
okay, yes. We're not doing that. Um,
Yes.
and the kids were like, "Well, then you tell him to," and so then they started having conversations with me, and
Mm,
they started kinda telling what was happening versus, like, what was, going on in the moment. It was, "Oh, he was talking this about this and, blah, blah." And
mhm,
so then I was like, "Okay." So I took that moment to be a teachable moment. So it
mm,
sounds like, and so we started transitioning from in the heat of the moment, we're gonna have conversations to proactive work. So
mm.
we started the morning with different routines. So our morning
Okay,
check-in, it was a true community circle.
okay.
How are we doing? Is there anything that happened overnight? Anything that happened at home? Any text message? Anything in the hood that's happening that you wanted
Mhm,
to talk about? Don't use names. Don't use,
mhm.
something out there because you never know who can relate.
Was it like
And
the whole school or was it like
every
individual
classroom,
classes? Oh,
every
individual
classroom.
wow,
Yeah.
okay,
And
okay.
they started seeing trends, right? Like, oh, so and so is being harassed by this person online, or bullying is happening, or
Mhm,
something.
mhm.
And so with those conversations, we started having we had mental health rehabs
Oh,
with
okay,
an agency we contracted with. So they would always be a part of the milieu and have conversations. And
okay.
they would then take whoever needed to be brought out
Mm.
to talk about that. So we would go into a different room and I would be involved as well, and
Wow.
we would talk about what the issue was, how we were gonna fix it. We're a small campus, we all
Mhm.
gotta get along. What
Yeah,
does this look like for us?
yeah.
And so sometimes those conversations ended with, I'll respect you while we're on this campus.
Mm.
I'll take
Mhm,
that."
mhm,
And sometimes it was, "Don't ever look at me. If you do, this will happen, but,
mm,
we'll
mhm.
we'll we'll mind our own," kinda thing.
Right.
I never had, "It's not gonna be resolved. We're not," because they understood they wanted to be at school, and this
Wow.
was the school that was going to have them, and we needed to
Right.
figure it out. So we started building our community meetings, and we started making sure we had the mental health aspect in
Mm,
place, right?
mhm,
That was
mhm.
key. And we
Right.
started having restorative circles and training kids who understood, like our juniors and seniors
Mhm.
who were a little more mature, could
Yeah.
handle the pressure, have been around a long time, right?
Yes, yeah.
Um, they were able to then run circles, and they
Wow.
were able, we were
Wow.
still present, but they kinda could guide it to
That's
say, like,
powerful.
I know what's happening, I experienced it too, and this how I dealt it," and so they started teaching each other, and so
Mm,
then it was even more of, like, a real community,
mhm.
it was a family,
Now
and
what about your staff, though? So, like, if your staff wasn't used to having a restorative lens or mindset or even knowing the practice, like, what did you do with your team? So, like, your team felt comfortable having these circles every morning?
so something I did there, and I did at Howard Gardner,
Okay.
was the, restorative, like, meetings to
Okay.
say that, or to repair. So I came in from however many administrators it had before me, and that
Mhm.
again is in both settings.
Right.
And they were used to, oh, this kid does this and this is allowed, and very like it is what it is. Can't
Mhm.
change it. And so
Mm,
I came in saying, "Here's who I am. This is what I'm about, and this is what I'm gonna need from you. And
mm.
can you be on the bus with me, right?
Wow,
Can you
yeah.
ride with me or not?"
Okay.
And sometimes people say I can't, and that's
Mm,
okay. I
mhm.
it's not the space for everybody, and I
Right.
understand.
Okay.
But I tried to tell them that we are going to recommit to what we are here for, to serve our students. It's not about us.
Mm,
It's about them. And can you, instead of giving them a directive and saying they're not being compliant, so they need to leave or do this and that, can we all be on the same page of, I'm going to try to have a conversation and figure out what's going on first, and
mhm,
then do XYZ before we do this?
mhm,
And those meetings happened a lot,
mhm.
and I led honestly, and I told them how I felt about how they were doing in the process, and they would tell me how they felt I was doing, and
Okay.
because of that, though, we were able to come to an understanding.
Wow.
So we had our own, restorative circles, between
Wow.
staff when staff would have spats,
Okay. Yeah.
and just our weekly meetings were like, "What's working? What's not? What do we need to change?
Mhm,
What harm has been caused? How can we, help?" type of thing. And that took a long time because not
mhm.
everybody trusts you, you know? Are they
Yeah.
gonna buy what you're selling?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think being authentic and coming with, like, "I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this to save us.
Mm.
Please listen." Um, and then they're like, "Okay." And I think the biggest thing is they saw it in action.
Okay.
I at Reach and here, but, when we were transforming Reach, it was I was out, I was watching the basketball interactions, I was watching 2 different kids who I thought may
Mhm.
possibly fight,
Right.
right? I was having conversations, I was in the classrooms, I was always there. If
Mm,
anything ever happened on campus, I was
mhm,
on that walkie, I was there.
mhm, mhm,
I
mhm,
was in between them.
mhm,
And the
mhm.
kids saw it, the staff saw it, and so they all felt like, "We're going to have her back because she has mine,"
Love it.
and that helped. So being
Okay.
in it, doing the work, not just telling and then sitting back and watching
Right.
is huge.
That's
Um,
incredible.
and then allowing them the same graces that I give to the kids. Uh,
Uh,
"You're having a bad day, I see it in your face. So what are
mhm.
you gonna need?" "Should we call in
Yes.
a sub? What are we doing right now?"
I
Uh,
love it.
and doing those check-ins, equally important,
Right.
and it's imperative for the work to happen.
That's incredible. And so the program where can you talk about when the students went out to the elementary schools, like, how did you set that up? Like, how do we do this if that's something that we're interested in? How did you prepare the kids and how often? All the things.
Oh my gosh, okay,
Okay.
so first off, I
Okay.
asked my male, we were predominantly male campus. I had 2 females and they were like, "Oh, everybody loved the 2 ladies on campus because I had none to pick."
Right?
Uh, and they were lovely girls, but
Yes, yes,
they
yes.
would always say, "Can you get more girl?" And I don't get anybody on this campus, it is dumb.
Right,
Um,
right.
so I asked my male mental health staff to start, like, a reach out with the boys on campus,
Okay.
not to the other schools, but just form a boys group.
Okay,
They
okay.
needed it, like, and
Mm,
talk about, everything from wearing deodorant to
yeah,
how to be a man, right? Like,
yeah,
just everything.
it's real.
And so they started that, and I noticed that the boys were, like, acting a little different. They carried themselves a little different.
Mm,
So
okay.
then we all met, the staff, and we said, "Why don't we get some polos and have them create their little logo, and it's theirs, and it's because they do this boys group that they can
Yeah,
wear it."
okay,
And so we did. And so
okay.
we put them in the polos, and they would wear them certain days, but they wanted to. They wanted to
Wow.
show, like, that they were part of this club on campus.
Mhm, mhm.
And I we were, a high school only, so we didn't have that K through 12th,
Yes.
alignment. However, I have 2 beautiful young girls who were in elementary school at the time,
Okay, okay,
and
okay,
I was a very active member of their school as well
okay,
as a parent.
okay,
And so I had asked the principal if I could start doing some sports stuff between my high school and the elementary school. And the
okay.
principal, knowing who I am and like it
Yes,
would be controlled and everything would be
yes.
well, they were like, absolutely.
Okay,
So I came back to the idea. I told her to give a couple months, but I
okay,
came back with the idea of I have a school that will work with us.
okay,
I want to form an 8-week program of sports only, what it looks like because they loved interacting with sports,
Mm.
but we didn't have a field. We didn't have access to sports.
Okay, okay. That was gonna be my question, why sports? Okay,
Yes, we
okay,
didn't we had amazing football and basketball players,
okay.
but because of behavior, they couldn't participate on their campus,
Right.
and we couldn't have our own because in high school, it's real sports, like,
Right,
they
right.
compete for scholars college
Yes.
scholarships.
Mhm.
We couldn't get in their leagues, right?
Okay.
So we kinda did our own thing. So we
Mhm.
took amazing athletes, and we created a program where we were gonna teach the elementary kids.
I love that because I raised my children for most of their lives as a single parent, so, um, wanting, like, my children, especially, like, my son, to learn there was nobody to teach him how to play different sports, so I love that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it was fabulous.
Yes.
It was structured. We had 8 weeks. You had to, do all your classwork. You had to show up to school. It's my ABC. So
Mhm.
attendance, behavior, and classwork. And
Oh,
if you're showing
ABC.
up
Okay.
you
Thank
show
you.
up, you are acting right, so you're not getting any kind of referrals or anything,
Mhm.
and you're doing your classwork, then you can join this group that will help the elementary kids.
Mhm.
You're off campus, which is always a blast,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yes.
We ended every time with a Starbucks, so they got their
Oh,
little, like, reward,
yes.
and they were like, "Okay, we'll do it." And so,
Okay.
as we were prepping what this was gonna look like, they started working on the ABCs. I'm gonna show up every day, I'm gonna
Mm.
and so earning it, and
Okay.
we would go weekly,
Mhm.
and we would work with different classrooms, and we would go out, it was it was beautiful.
Wow.
The highlight of my life was
Wow.
seeing the kids, okay, we need this, who's going to be on this team and who's this, and put on the flag, and this is how the rules of the game, and
Wow.
then building on it every week was beautiful. And
Wow.
the kids were like, oh, so they would come back to campus in their polos talking about all the things. And I will say, on the way out, I have this one young man who he's you don't have favorites, but he was my favorite.
Yeah, right, yes, I get that.
He would every time go out, his pants were below his butt always.
Right, yeah.
He would pull up those pants, tighten the belt, and he'd be like, "We're going to work." And I'm like, "Thank you, sir." And when we come back,
Wow.
you would see it slowly go down. I'm like, "What are you
He's
doing?"
back at home. He
Yes,
was back at home.
yes.
Yeah.
But and it's code switching, but he
Yeah.
at 16 knew that this is what he needed to do to present a certain way, and he wanted those kids to see him as a professional, right? I
Wow.
am your teacher, and he
Mm.
did that for them, um, and it was a beautiful thing.
I'm just thinking, I'm like, wow, I can imagine just like your ABC, I love that. So it's academic behavior no, attendance,
Attendance
behavior,
and coursework.
and coursework. So you saw improvement in all of those things
Yes.
for the students individually, I can imagine, and then just, like, their self-confidence. Did any of them talk about, like, after that experience, did they start thinking about their futures and what they wanted to do? Because now they're in the position of leaders on your campus and, for younger ones. So what did they talk about after that?
Oh my gosh, so they would come back to campus, and
Yeah.
you had the other kids who were like, "Where'd you go? What'd you do?" And they would
Yes.
tell them, and they would tell them how they could get into it and,
Mhm.
like, what it took. And so they became my role models on campus.
Yeah.
And I had a senior, he was just with us that 1 year, and
Okay.
some of them were short, some of them, if they did their expulsion time, they
Mm.
could, I'd write a letter or whatever, they could return to campus, and
Right.
others they were just mine, and
Yeah.
that was fine, I would keep them any day.
Yeah, yeah.
Um but I had a senior, it came senior year, he was in the program, and I actually was selling Girl Scout cookies with my
Okay.
daughter, and his mentor, his CASA through the count or to the court, said that he is now in a different state, but he has, he's an insulator, and he has a girlfriend, and he rents an apartment, and he is just so successful. And he really, and his casa was like, "I thank you so much for your work with him and giving him opportunities and allowing him to be himself, but find like that leadership voice," because
Yes.
then he knew he could do it. He knew
Yes.
what it took, and he's a rock star. So
Wow. I
he's
hope people
great.
are hearing through your story, one, just how critical it is that we show up as ourselves and be our authentic selves. Like we're, in the education, like the kids, like that's why we're here, right? To get that best outcomes for them. But sometimes people struggle with like how vulnerable should I be? Like how authentic should I be? So I hope people are hearing that. That we must be ourselves, and then I feel like we're purposed to serve the people like who we are with. And
Yes.
so your students needed that. And then it's just your belief is so strong. Like, I'm coming in and I'm doing this. Like that's powerful, but there was like no doubt. It's like I don't hear any doubt in your voice, like when you walked into that setting. And so I think just the confidence, I hope people are hearing that because that's not necessarily those 2 things, that's not skill, that's not a book, that's not education. Those are just like mindsets that you are coming in with, and I think 2 of the most powerful ones. Not to say, like, I know you are very studied and very experienced, but those are huge things that sometimes people overthink or question, but that those are the things that our children and our campuses actually need. So thank you.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
is something you can't teach, you know? People are
Yeah.
like, "Well, how do I get" I'm like, "I don't know. I just
Who are
get 'em."
you? And yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is important.
Yeah.
A
So that
and to
Mhm.
remember that you're human too,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I always bring who I am and such, but also, if give me grace as well,
Yeah.
right? I'm a
Yeah.
human. I carry a lot of things, and so if I'm
Yes.
having a bad day or something, I still have the trauma lens. I still have
Yeah.
restorative, but
Yeah.
maybe I need a moment too.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now, that is one school that Cat Shaw has turned around. I stopped you, because I had to hear about those things. So tell us about so you were telling us the story of when you entered your new context, and so you had a year to get that 10% gain in test scores, oh my gosh, and improve attendance. So she did it. So tell us about your work at Howard Gardner. Like, what were you thinking when they told you you had a year to turn this school around?
So, I
Maybe you couldn't
remember
share all of what you were thinking, but
I came home to my husband and said, "Fred, I thought I was getting hugs and love and, like, almost like a vacation," I mean, great work and it's so hard, but
yes, yes.
coming from Reach, that was an experience,
That's a lot.
And now it's like game on, and so I got back into that it's game on mind shift of
Mhm,
it's now or nothing, do or
mhm.
die, and we had a staff meeting, and I'm a
Mm,
very transparent leader,
okay.
and I do it with I caution people with that because, um, transparency is beautiful and something that I want, and so I do lead that way, but it rubs people wrong
Mm,
because even when you sugarcoat and present it a certain way, facts are facts, and not everybody is able and willing and ready to receive those facts. And
mhm.
so, it ruffled a lot of feathers.
Okay.
But pretty much I came in with, "Here's where we're at. Here's where we scored in math. Here's where we
Mhm,
scored in ELA over the last several years. Here's our
mhm.
attendance and our enrollment, and here are facts, right?
Right, right.
Here's, retention and this and that." I brought all the facts.
Okay.
And the fact that the county, who's our authorizer, said it is not good enough, that we are a failing school, and if
Mhm,
we don't come together and figure this out, we will close. So I was told in that letter next October, so October 2025, I was going to get either a letter of closure or a letter of you can go on for renewal because our renewal time is coming up.
jeez.
I said, okay.
Oh my gosh.
So I was very transparent, and I told him
Mhm,
exactly what it was and that I'm not Google, I don't know it all,
mhm.
but I know enough to get us to a certain point, and I'm gonna rely on their expertise in different areas to help carry us and figure
Mm,
things out. So we met a lot. My SSC and I, we met, our, leadership team, we met, teachers, and we just got everybody on board, and we came up with a plan, and our plan was, um, first, behavior.
okay, yeah.
We have to have the kids in the
Has to
seat.
be safe. Yeah, yeah.
Right? And
Mhm,
and and yes, it has to be safe. You have to have the basic needs met, but you have to have the kids in the seat in order to teach, and if they're
mm,
out roaming the halls or
right,
they're acting up or out of school on a suspension or something, then they're not learning, and
right.
now we're
Mhm,
and so we we're really intentional with our behavioral practices and
Mm,
going in and talking about what needs to be done in the classroom to help keep kids
mhm.
engaged and in their seat, or not in their seat, but in the classroom.
I know what you
Uh,
mean. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then we talked about academics. So, what do they need to teach? Uh,
Mm,
and not everybody was prepared to teach different things, right? Like
right,
we go through these programs for multiple subject, but we are not taught how to teach reading necessarily,
correct.
or the basics of math and what when kids don't get the 2 + 2 = 4, what
Right.
different interventions you can put into place. And so we
Mhm,
had to like coach through that as well.
mhm.
And then when we got those 2 things figured out, we said, "Okay, so now we have access, but we need time." And we don't have time because we take our
Yes,
state tests in May and it is November.
yes,
And so every single person on this campus, classified, credentialed, I don't care who you were, we
right.
all tutored after school. We
Wow.
grabbed kids that are either on the cusp of passing or the low ones. We had all our groups, and we had a reading group, and we had a writing group, and we had a
Mm,
and everybody, including admin, we all had groups, and we
mm,
all worked really hard on getting them more access, right? Like, we reach out to parents, "Parents, I need you to keep your kid here until
right,
3:15. Need,
right.
this and that." And, so then we did the after school stuff, and then during school, we had some intervention times. We pulled kids, we had 20 groups. We did 20
Okay.
minutes of reading, 20 minutes of writing, 20 minutes of,
Ah,
some intervention stuff, and
okay,
and we tried to use bell to bell, right? All
okay,
of the time was taken up.
okay.
And then I had a community meeting.
Mhm,
So we all sat here, and on Zoom, so everybody could participate and talked about what we needed, what the struggles were, how we can get
mm,
the kids, to up their scores and
mhm.
be good scholars.
Yeah,
And with all of that, we put it all in action, and we sat in May, and we again, all hands on deck. And we did change something in our charter. We
mhm,
still have the same amount of days and hours and all the things
right,
we have to do, but we
mhm,
did change our schedule where our minimum days fell on testing days. So the
mhm,
concept was they would come Tuesday through Thursday of that week, testing
mhm.
week, and they would be served breakfast that were
Okay.
cooked by staff, and we
No.
brought it to them at here, and they could pick, they had school food, and they had the special breakfast that all the kids would get, and, they would, do check-ins, they would test, have recess, lunch, go home, and so they knew that when they came, it was testing focus. We are
Right,
all about the test right now,
right.
and seeing those kids sit and stress, but, like, healthy stress,
Yes,
kids who were like, you would think didn't care, right? And
right,
then they're like, "Miss Cat, do you think this is long enough?" And I'm like, "Honey, I can't help you, but let me
right,
tell you, your best is your best, and that's all I'm asking
right,
for right now."
right.
And they would be like, "Okay, okay." And, my middle school students, and I'm like, "Oh, this is exciting." Um, and so
Okay,
the
so
yeah, I'm sorry.
okay, I'm sorry. No, no. Okay, so tell us how it ended. I don't wanna cut you off, but
Oh,
we're gonna go back because I have questions.
okay, okay. So we did it, 3 weeks, and we had to sit and wait for, well, 1, we get the unofficial, right? So
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
to sit and wait for that, but then we, sat and wait for the official,
Mhm.
um, and then we celebrated with a trip to Disneyland.
My yes, that is well deserved.
And
So
then
how much did you guys grow that year?
okay, we in math went up 11%, and
Jeez.
in ELA, we went up 19%.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yeah.
Whoa.
And so much
Oh my
still to be
gosh.
done and to continue, and
I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm, like, getting tears in my eyes. That's insanity in, like, such a beautiful way. Okay, so was there like, a program that you guys used? Like,
you
did
know
you
what?
get new books, new curriculum in math and ELA?
No, let me tell you, here's
Science?
the deal,
Okay,
okay? This is how I lead.
okay.
I really feel like there's been so many times where we have bought programs, and we have tried them, and sometimes you get success, sometimes you don't. They fail, or they're going in really hard, and then all of a sudden the teacher stopped using them, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Here's what I think worked. It wasn't a program, okay? And I
Okay.
didn't buy anything special because we didn't have the funding for it.
Ah, okay.
Okay, we
Okay.
our attendance was down or our enrollment was
Mm,
down, so
okay.
we also didn't have money.
Right.
So, what we did have was a staff that cared, a
Mm,
staff that was putting in time, a staff that said, "Hey, we want to be here with you guys next year, right? We wanna see that kinder class graduate in 8th grade,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
we need you to invest time, energy, effort into you guys,
Mm,
and teach." And
wow.
so that's what I asked of my staff, that's what they brought to the table, and then I truly believe that was why we got the outcome. It
Wow.
we didn't use anything special, we
Okay.
just showed up and showed out. That
Okay,
was
show it out for sure. Okay, so we're gonna back a little bit. So you talked about you created a plan, like you worked on the behavior because, like you said, you needed the students in classrooms in their seats to learn. So I just want everybody to keep in mind a year, right? So you were like, we did the behavior and that was 2 months. I'm like, so, so can you unpack that a little bit? What things did you guys put in place to adjust the behavior so students weren't roaming the hallways and they were doing the things to be in class and to make sure it was a safe environment? What things did you put in place to deal with behavior first?
So, first and foremost, we had restorative conversations.
Okay.
So very similar to Reach, we have a restorative team. We have mental health people here. I partner with a local university for their wellness coach
Wow.
interns. And so
Wow.
they come in and work with our kids. We have our school psych, myself, different people who are dedicated for like those spaces of like, okay, you need a restorative circle, or there's a problem, we can talk about it.
Hmm.
Um, but I think of a classroom like it is my home. I
Yeah.
am the mom, and these are my kids.
Yeah.
And when I saw that start happening in classrooms where I
Mm.
can't send my own child, maybe to their room, right? But I
Right.
can't send them outside the house. They're still in
Oh.
my house.
Oh.
And so that's why it's not a room, it's a house, right? Like,
Ah,
so
okay.
the concept was not you get to send a kid away and have somebody else deal with it because that takes your power away. I
Mm.
already know I have power. I already know I can do it.
Mhm.
That's not gonna help you.
Mhm.
And then what I've learned is that when kids they start to like that time away, so then they
Yes.
start acting out to get that time, right? So it's
Yes.
mark.
Yes.
So we have teachers. I mean, we do the PBIS and input different things, right? So it's all recorded still, but we do
Okay.
a lot of in their classroom handling.
Okay.
It might be a separate space for the moment until the kids are working independently and you can have a restorative conversation with that student or reset those expectations of like, hey, this is what I'm going to need from you.
Mhm.
But also hearing them out. Did you eat? What do you need from me? Are you
Mm.
not understanding the content? And so you decide to have a conversation,
Mm. Mhm.
and figuring that out. And for the people who maybe just you're doing a project, you really don't have time for that check in. That's
Yeah.
where we can come in and hold that space. And it's still within the house though. So we're going
Mm.
saying, "Hey, tell me what's going on." What
Mhm.
well, so and so, kicked me
Right.
from here and I'm still mad. Okay, well, let's talk about that. And then if
Right.
we need to take a couple kids out to hold a circle or whatever, that's fine. But
Mhm.
I wanted to give authority to the teachers, right?
Mhm.
And their
Mhm.
space.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that was my first step with behavior.
But
Everything's
okay,
in the
but,
space.
like, what did it take to, um 'cause that's a huge shift, again, in such a short time, so what did you do to help your faculty get comfortable? Because that's a year mind shift. Like when you're used to being able to send students out versus like, no, this is our house, right? How do we solve this? Like to get that restorative mindset, what did you do? Because teachers legitimately have a student and they're distracting the class and it's disruptive and they can't teach. So how did you help your teachers shift and provide the support?
So first we did training.
Okay.
So I've done restorative training and such for a very long time, but I
Okay.
actually hired somebody to come in and do it because I thought that the message would be heard better,
Okay.
right? Because like here's an outside professional that says it
Yes.
and what to do. So that
Yes.
was fine. So we started the year with that of like
Okay.
here's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
Um, what I received because I surveyed all of my staff
Mhm.
What did you not get from your previous leader? What do you want
Mm.
moving forward? What do you need the kids to do, and blah blah blah.
Right.
And the biggest thing that kept standing out were our kids were out of control.
Yeah.
And we all understood that.
Mhm.
So when I came in and said, if you do this and this, then let's try it and see what happens, right? Because I think you'll get this, and let's
Right.
see if I'm right.
Okay.
And with that, they were like, okay, we're going to try it. Now, it was not pretty and perfect,
Right. Of
by
course.
any
Yeah,
means,
of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I had conversations with the kids. Hey, we're not gonna tag on walls. You don't graffiti inside your
Yeah,
mom's
in your
kitchen
house.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Mhm,
We don't
mhm.
do that here. And
Right.
so that started changing. The kids were like, "Oh man, she's really like strict, right?
Right, yes.
She doesn't tolerate a lot. Okay, so maybe I should go to class right now, right?" And it
Yeah.
took me in the hall and other people to be like, "Why are you out of class? Where are you going?
Mhm.
What are you
Mhm.
doing?" And
Mhm.
then guiding them back, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then it was, okay, but he is, or she,
Mhm.
they were
Yeah.
being a disruption, right? They keep talking. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna come in now and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna watch and see what's
Mhm.
happening. I'm gonna give that mom look of what are
Yeah.
you doing? And then
Right.
I'm gonna say, okay, here's how you can handle this in the future. Why don't you try it?
Uh,
Right?
oh, okay.
Coming in and then to the knuckleheads, because we have
Yeah.
middle school knuckleheads
Yes,
that are just like, I
yes,
don't care. Okay.
yes. Yes.
We often, and what I did at Reach was I use that herd mentality. So I
Mm.
have everybody else in the class that is now irritated that you are disrupting
Mm.
them
Right.
because they already know what's going to happen. They already know that, now their teacher has to pause and they're going to miss out on this and they were going to
Right.
do that. And so then I start having them say, like to each other, like, when you don't like when he does that, I need you to tell him, right? I need
Ooh,
you to say,
nice.
can you
Okay.
stop talking to me so I can hear what she's saying? And
Yes.
when kids start doing that,
Yeah, that's power.
right. And then the kid's like, "Well, whatever." But
Yeah.
he stops talking because, like,
Right.
nobody's there to listen, nobody wants to hear it.
Right.
And so developing that as well is, like,
Wow.
using everybody in there to, like, let's start extinguishing behaviors.
Okay.
And then we have some that just truly can't handle it, and that's
Uh-huh.
okay too. And so
Mhm.
in that program, what that looks like is, they can get work, and I run small groups.
Okay.
So when once a teacher, always a teacher, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I have run groups for everybody, special ed,
Mhm.
gen ed, doesn't matter if you don't get a concept, because a lot of times that's why the kids are roaming the halls
Right.
or whatnot, because they are
Right.
confused and they don't want to look dumb.
Yep. Yep.
And so we'll run side groups, and you can sign up for those groups, and you can, like, request or whatnot. And it's not task avoidance because they still get the work done,
Right.
but they
Right.
have like a smaller group setting, right?
Okay. Okay.
And so we try to work with the kids in what they need and what the teacher needs. Now, maybe I'm just done. I've heard enough with this kid and I am done,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Well, you can't say that because it
Right.
is that child's space, right?
Right.
It is that
Right.
child's home.
Mm.
You can voice it to me that you're going to need some space, and I
Yeah.
can provide that for you.
Okay.
When this happens, I want, this group of kids to come and work with me over here or to do this. It allows the teacher a break.
Yeah.
But they're human, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say they're human too,
Correct.
absolutely,
But
yes.
it's not them saying, "Get out," or
Correct. That's
"Take
a
this
huge
referral."
difference. Yes.
We don't have a room for for discipline.
Mm.
I don't even have an office. I you
Mm.
know, I my
Wow.
this I'm right now in a conference room,
Okay.
and I have a therapy dog, and so he has his
Wow.
own space,
Wow.
and other people have spaces, but I'm a roamer, and
Right.
so my whole thing is we're not gonna have a room for discipline because, 1, I don't have anybody to run it, and
Right.
2, why
Yes.
they shouldn't be outside of the classroom.
Right. Right.
Even if I am disconnected and saying I don't care, I'm still hearing things. I
Yeah.
still just heard the teacher say that in 1954 this happened,
Right.
right?
Right.
I'm still taking in some stuff, and so I want
Yes.
my kids to have access to that.
Right.
And so, it's still not perfect,
Mhm.
and we are in the
Yeah,
school year
nothing
number
is.
2, uh, but 1, teachers practicing it and holding the kids accountable,
Mhm.
and myself making sure that I'm helping
Mhm.
teachers and
Mhm.
following
It's
up,
powerful.
um and I also, we have a big parent contact community here, so we message parents, "Hey, he had a great day," or, "Hey, can you do a check-in with him because
Yes.
we don't have that tomorrow?"
Yeah.
Or, "Hey, they're not turning in work," or whatnot, so we try
Mhm.
to always it's a whole community. It's
Okay.
talking to parents, it's holding them accountable in the classroom, it's the admin saying, "Hey, that's not okay. Like,
Yeah.
I understand where you're at, but that's not how we're gonna treat people."
Right.
And so everybody just being on the same page. helps develop
Wow.
systems.
So you worked on behavior first. And you had that in place, and so I would imagine that attendance would go up because it seems like students would start to feel that sense of belonging because of how the classrooms transformed into houses and the school into a community. Are there specific things you can talk to us about with regard to attendance, that you put in place in addition to what you've shared to create that sense of belonging? So I'm sure children were looking forward to coming to school, but what else did you do with attendance?
So we have all the attendance incentives, right?
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
oh, you show up for so long, we celebrate. We just had a family lunch.
Okay. Well,
With
tell us about those because what may be common practice for you may not be for me. So I need to hear what are those common things that you have set up. Okay.
You got it. All right.
Okay.
So, our attendance, you come in, you get PBIS points at the beginning of the day for showing up.
Okay.
And
Mm,
that is for being present. It doesn't matter if you came in at 10 or you came in on time at 8. I want
okay.
you here. Okay.
Okay.
And then we do have some older kids, like my eighth graders, that stroll in later. And so they have like individual contracts with us. And I found one of their carrots is like this green Gatorade. He just wants green Gatorade. He's like, I'll show up. Blah, blah. And you know what? Fine. I work, I like
Right.
my coffee and I work too. So let's do it.
Right.
So I
Okay.
ordered green Gatorades, and I swear to you, he comes in and he'll make eye contact with whoever's in that area. I'm here. I'm on time. Where's my Gatorade?
Yes.
Takes Gatorade, goes to class. So, little
Wow.
things like that also happen.
It's
But
big.
school wide, we have, if you're here, we had 95% or higher got a school lunch,
Okay.
where they had one of my staff, her mom owns a restaurant. So she
Okay.
came and did a full Mexican food,
Wow.
taco bar, and
Wow.
you could bring a family member, and so we did that. It
Wow.
was super fun
Okay.
and good food.
And
Uh,
that's a donation she donated that, or did you pay
no,
for
but
that out of your
heavily
one of your
discounted.
budget? Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
heavily
Wow.
discounted. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, and it was nice to be able to thank the parents. Thanks for getting your
Yes.
kid here, right?
Yes.
And on time or whatnot, and to come eat lunch with us.
Wow.
So we have attendance incentives like that. I will
Okay.
say we are in Chula Vista. So
Okay.
we are very close to the border in San
Okay.
Diego.
Okay.
And the the political climate has affected our attendance.
Yeah.
And we have seen ICE in the area, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so we have not only kids who struggle with homelessness, who have food insecurities, and now have to worry about documentation. And even if everything is on the up and up, still the chance of
Yeah.
being pulled over or talked to, and that's scary.
Yeah.
And so I have
Extremely.
families that don't want to send their kids,
Of
right?
course.
And then I
Course.
have, right now Mexico has its own thing happening. And so
Yeah.
when they say, you can't go out, shelter in place, if I have a family that goes down to see their dad or something,
Yeah.
and now they're stuck there and they
Yeah.
can't cross for whatever
Yeah.
reason, or they went for the weekend, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so I
Yeah.
have to think of all of that for attendance as well.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And so while we have these incentives in place and we try to say like, "Hey guys, show up, and we're your safe space," which we truly are,
Yeah.
it's hard because
It's hard.
I I'm up against the world out here, the real world. Um, so I just wanna kinda put that on is that
Yeah.
also heavily affects attendance that we
Absolutely.
as a school have 0 control over.
Absolutely.
But what we do to get them here is we
Yeah.
provide a very fun, safe, welcoming environment. You are
Mhm.
greeted with,
Yes.
"Hello, how are you? Are
Mhm.
you hungry?
Yes.
What's up?" Right?
Yeah.
Um, every staff here knows a kid in their family. So, "Hey,
Mm.
I saw your mama at the store the other day, and, she got her hair done."
Right.
Like, those kind of
Yeah.
conversations are happening.
Wow. Yes.
So they have that connection, and they
Mm.
really wanna be here. I remember, it was during testing last year, but a kiddo, the mom was having a baby. She was at
Wow.
the hospital, and her
Yeah.
son was with her,
Uh-huh.
and he was in the background, very upset. "I have to go to school. I have to take this test." And so she was saying, "Can you please tell him it's okay to miss some days. He can make it up." I kid you not. And we were like, "Baby boy, it's okay."
And to want to come during testing, which I feel like can be very brutal for kids. And so I'm gonna hop forward, but I'm gonna hop back. But you talked about your testing structure, which I thought was really cool because the fact that staff, because like cooking is like an act of love, you know? And so the fact that, like, yes, there's the school provided, but the staff is willing to love on kids by cooking and bringing food. Like, that's something I can imagine your students were really excited about and wanted to come for testing. Um, but then all of this work that you guys did and like the urgency to do well, it's hearing you, it's like your kids bought into like, this is important. So sometimes we hear like, oh, kids are apathetic about the test. That's why the scores are like this, right? Um, but can you talk about like your kids, like they were in it, like they wanted to do well. Are there other things that you felt like contributed to that? Am I like reading this wrong? But like the structure was nice too. That was the other piece I was going to say because they got to test and go home. So like we didn't wear them out with, we, like I'm part of your school community.
You could be. You want to be.
Thank you.
An honorary being. Yes.
Honorary. But you didn't wear them out with this intensive testing, and then they go on to all of their other classes for a full day of instruction.
It's hard.
So I love that you guys allowed them like, "Hey, come up, come, eat well, do your best, and then you get to go home now." But can you talk about student engagement, during that testing season and how
So
you guys created that?
yeah. So I came into a school that may have on paper been failing, and
Mm,
kiddos were not where they should be at all the time.
mhm.
But the one thing I will always say about Howard Gardner in Chula Vista is that the staff love their kids
Wow.
and the kids see themselves in the staff.
Gotcha.
We are all a colorful bunch of people,
I love it.
and they have always felt very supported and
Mm,
very connected to the people here.
love it.
And it is their safe space, and that is long before me and hopefully
Mhm.
long after me. That
Yes.
that is not a cat thing.
Yeah.
What I did though was say, if you truly love Howard Gardner and want to be here next year,
Mm.
I'm gonna need you to show up and show out.
Lock it.
Yes, do it.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
only thing I did was I let the kids know, 3rd through 8th grade,
Mhm.
I was transparent with them too.
Yeah.
Here's what you guys have done in the past. Here's what this has led to. Here's where we're at, and here's what's next.
Okay.
And if they are in the testing age, then they had the honest speech, the honest assembly of
Mm.
I'm going to reward you and love on you and make it a fun experience the best I can.
Mhm.
But if you don't put in the work, our
Mhm.
school will get a letter of closure in October, and I will have until June of 26 to close it down. And
Wow.
that was I read it from the paper, and so
Okay.
we all understood the urgency, and having that, the kids would then hold each other accountable,
Wow.
right? Because they even my 8th graders, they did great on that test. They
Yes.
wanted to show their love for the staff
Mm.
and the
Oh, that's
school,
nice.
right?
That's
Because
nice.
staff have loved them for years, and they
Yes.
were like, "I had her in kindergarten, and now I'm an
Yeah.
8th grader graduating. I want
Mm.
to show that I support you and what you do
Wow.
for these kids. So
Wow.
I'm gonna do my best," which was good enough, and
It was beyond good
it
enough.
was. They did great.
It was.
And then, the next year staff is still here to love and support the rest of the community. So
Wow.
that is something that I did not build. I just helped grow. And,
Mhm.
and I just gave 'em a reality check. If you want it to continue, you guys have to put in the effort. And they did. They did.
And what did
So
your attendance rate go up to?
our attendance,
Around maybe don't worry about it, that's
I
what
think
edits
it
are for.
only grew 3%.
Okay, that's huge. That's incredible
I'm
because
trying to
I feel
think.
like
Yeah.
it took, like us, like 2 years to grow 3%. So that's a big deal, I feel like, in education. So
And our enrollment went up. We
oh, okay.
ended the year with 164,
Huh.
and we are at 200 right now.
Whoa.
And then we have fluctuated, so over the times, like, we've, not in the past, they've
Yeah.
had, like, really up 230 and then low or whatnot, but that was huge as well as, like, our enrollment because people in the community were talking about what we were doing and the level of
Yes.
support and who we are and having a change of leadership and
Mm,
what that brought to the school community,
mm.
and so our enrollment increased as well. So
Congratulations.
that really helped us.
That's awesome. Now
Yeah.
I have these list of questions, but I'm just so caught up. So
Okay, great. I don't know.
okay, hold on. Let me see. Where was I supposed to be? Um, okay. So connected to behavior, because I know it's a thing on school leaders and teachers on our mind. So you talk about restorative practices, and you really have a trauma informed approach. And I don't want to say you talk about it like you live it, like you can see it in your leadership at different schools. How would you take a situation that if a student was at another school, they might get suspended for? How would you guys approach it differently through a restorative and or a trauma informed lens? If that situation, so let's just say there was, I'm going to just make up a situation. Let's just say there was, I don't know, like a fight, maybe like on campus. What would somebody who has like a trauma informed approach or restorative approach, how might they deal with that situation?
So this did happen. So I'm gonna
Okay.
go through a yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So kiddo comes in the class, teacher says, "Hey, find a seat kind of thing. Take a seat, take your seat." He's in a mood. And you can see it. And a kiddo comes up and um tries to help him to his
Mm,
seat, right? So
okay.
little pat on the back, little pat on the front,
Yeah.
little like, let me guide you to your seat. That didn't
Yes.
go well. They fight.
Okay.
Both kiddos are first checked for like, are you okay? All right.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then immediately I have the person who was the offender in the situation apologizes to me. And I was, you didn't do anything to me, but
Mhm.
we got to talk about what happened and
Yes.
but here's the deal. I have been harassed by this kiddo. Right? And, like, under the table kinda thing, like,
Yeah.
he calls
Yeah.
me fat or he does this or blah, 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 and
Yeah.
it's just I've had enough, and I had a
Yes.
rough morning, and when he touched me, when he put
Mhm.
his hands on me, and even though
Right.
it wasn't in an assaultive manner, he touched
Yes.
me, and I was
Yeah.
not ready to receive,
Right.
and I lashed out, and I feel horrible about it, but I, like,
Mhm.
lost control.
Yeah.
So that is a conversation that I had with the student almost immediately after it happened.
Wow.
And so then we started going through the layers. "Well,
Okay.
when this was happening, why didn't you talk to people? Why?" And he's like, "Well, because I thought it was done jokingly and like we're
Uh,
friends and it was but like I had enough."
yes.
And so, okay, so that's one piece to it. So now we
Yeah.
have like this the kind of like the antecedent, what really was
Yes.
going on. Then
Yeah.
he was talking about, in that morning, I had an issue with my mom
Yeah.
and we didn't get along, and she said something and I said something, and I've been
Mhm.
holding on to that,
Mhm.
and then when he did that, we were not on good terms right now, and I just
Yeah.
exploded.
Yeah.
So that is us identifying the problem, right? Like,
Right.
we've had it's a domino effect.
Yes.
We're projecting how we felt about the morning and
Yes.
taking in our current relationship with this student, and we have lashed out and caused physical harm.
Yes.
So the student was very aware of everything, and that's why he was trying to like go through his little check boxes because we do it a
Yes.
lot around here,
Okay. Okay.
identifying our feelings and acknowledging where we're at and what we
Okay.
are capable of for the day.
Okay.
And so, with that self reflection, he was like, "I want to apologize to the kid," and I said,
Wow.
"But before we do that,
Yeah.
I need to see how this kid is, right? Because
Yes.
I've
Yes.
yet to
Great
check in
point.
with him."
Yes. Yes.
So I said, take a minute, offered water, some tissue because it got a little tearful, and
Yes.
we're gonna go to the next room. So we went over to the
Okay.
next room and, "How are you?" "Oh, well, this happened and this." "Okay, so talk to me about, like, why you think that happened and all the things." And so we
Right.
did. "I was just trying to help him." "Well, how did you do that?" Like,
Right. Right.
I patted him, but I always pat him, and,
Yeah.
and the student um, the student that got hit
Mhm.
said, "I knew he was in a bad mood."
Ah.
So he already knew that this
New.
wasn't good.
Yeah.
So we
Yes.
just identified certain things that we probably should have done a little differently.
Yes.
Again, made sure everybody was safe and okay.
Mhm.
And this is something that you and I had spoke about prior to, but like suspensions.
Yes. Yes.
This did lead to an out of school suspension
Mhm.
because the student had physical damage to his face.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there's no way I'm going to be able to say,
Yeah.
"Kumbaya," and let's go to
Right.
class.
Right. Right.
So, the student did go out on a suspension.
Mhm.
understanding, and there's parents involved and, the whole
Right.
gamut, right, of, like,
Right.
in the middle of it.
Mhm.
What I will say is that the students were ready to repair, the parents were not,
Ah, yes.
and
Okay.
that added a different layer.
Yes,
But I
yes.
am student focused, I'm not adult
Yeah.
focused, not
Yes,
in
yes.
this. So,
Yes.
I had one-on-ones with both adults and said, "You
Mhm.
need to let me handle this," because, of
Yeah.
course, the victim's parent says, "I don't want him in the same class."
Right, right.
And the offender's parent said, "Well, he's been harassing my kid," and
Yes, yes.
so what I asked was to believe in me and my work and
Mhm.
let the students come. And I'm going to coach both of them separately. Then we're going to meet together. And we're going to figure this out.
I love it.
And that's exactly what we did.
Wow.
We I met with each student. I had both of them with me in a room. Both of them, one of them said, "I don't wanna be his friend, but, like, I understand. I
Mhm.
knew he was in a bad mood. I shouldn't have touched." Like, he took that
Right.
responsibility as well.
Right, right,
And
right.
then the kiddo who hit the kid was like, "I shouldn't have done that." I immediately felt like, "Oh, no, I messed up,"
Right.
but it just
He was
happened,
bad.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so in that circle, we were able to repair harm, talk about next steps, sign some
Mm.
contracts as far as, "Hey, we're gonna see each other. We're
Mhm.
gonna, be in the same room. What does that
Right,
look like? How do
right,
I guarantee we're not going to get revenge, retaliate?"
right.
And the both kids were like, "No, we're good." And they signed the contract, and,
Okay.
they did go back to class.
Yes.
I did skip one part.
Okay. Okay.
Before that,
Okay.
the student who did go out on suspension came back. The other student was absent.
Okay.
So when he came back to school, we have an integration process, so he has to
Oh,
kinda show that he's ready for the classroom again.
okay.
So I will say he was an easier one because he had already told me how sorry he was before he went out.
Yes.
But
Yes.
he came back in and, you have to do a little checklist of things, and it
This is the
includes.
integration process.
Yes.
Okay, yes, okay.
So it starts with a meeting with me,
Okay.
um, to talk about what the action is moving forward, how we're gonna have a restorative circle with the person we harmed. Also, we have to have a restorative circle with the class because it happened in the classroom. The
Okay.
teacher was present and upset, the kids saw it and were upset, so now we gotta fix that.
Okay.
Then we have to show that we're ready to work. So I'm gonna give you a reflection sheet. You're gonna, like, write out your thing, showing, like, you're in it, you're willing
Mhm.
to write and read and all the things to return to the
Mm.
classroom.
Wow.
Um, and so we did that. And so the student was
That
absent, the other student was absent.
that's
Yeah.
so powerful. Oh,
It's important.
it's yes, and so powerful, because I'm thinking if I was a student, 1, I wouldn't be so quick to cause harm. Because I wouldn't, especially I work with middle school. So, like, they're embarrassed. And so I can think some of my students, they're not going to want to publicly go through all of those pieces to repair the situation. And our children are brilliant and they definitely make decisions, knowing like what consequences are. So I can see many of your students not wanting to do certain things, right? Because there's a process. They don't just get to come back into the school, they have to repair the harm. And then when you were talking, you mentioned, um, well, I noticed like the boys were very reflective. So, is that something that you teach? Because you said like, oh, they kind of went through like their check boxes, but like, what are those check boxes? Do you guys like explicitly teach students how to reflect? Can you say a little bit more about that? Then we're going to go to the integration process.
Okay. So, yeah, there is some foundational work here. So,
Okay.
I meet with the kids in a boys group and a girls group.
Okay.
And in those groups, we talk about our feelings and such, but also we talk about repairing relationships because maybe they're having trouble at home. Like it's
Hmm.
not just here. So
Right.
we
Right.
try to teach them skills that they can take into the real world at home and
Mm.
everything else, or with their friends here. And
Okay.
so we do give them like a little, did I try this first? Have I done this? Did I check in with this person? How does the other person feel? Right? Like, did they receive my message or what? Their
Mm.
reception is a little different so that we try
Hmm.
to go through different things and we teach them that for the no, 7th and 8th grade. And then TK through 6, they have a social emotional learning block where they
Okay.
do art and social emotional learning,
Wow.
and they try to talk about dysregulation and how to control feelings and what feelings mean, and so we're trying to get them ready for those boys and girl groups in 7th and 8th grade.
Wow.
Um, I lead the girls group in 7th and 8th grade, so I know
Okay.
exactly what is taught. The boys group is a little different, but,
Yeah, yeah.
um, it's a similar thing, right? And
Right,
so
right.
we do teach them in real life experience. They practice, they role play, and then we have student leaders that will, lead as committees. So if I have a
Mm.
kid that got in trouble, they are a committee of, like, what the student needs to do to kinda, like, repair and fix things.
You keep
Um,
dropping these things like, "Oh,
I'm
this is just
sorry.
normal practice."
We have a lot happening. I
I'm like, "No, hold on."
but I didn't use the panel of peers in this one because I
Okay,
already had to fix it with the classroom. So
okay,
I felt like that was going to be the panel
okay.
because the kiddo had to go to the whole class and talk about it, and that's better than just, like, the 4 kids. So, okay.
Catshaw. Okay, so
Sorry.
so you intentionally and explicitly teach your 7th and 8th graders, foundational skills so that they can be metacognitive, they can think about their actions, they can practice it, they can practice reflecting and really thinking through different scenarios,
Yes.
okay? And then you have this panel or this committee. Can you say more about this panel or committee that is built into your restorative system?
Yes. So,
Okay.
we have kiddos in our leadership team that have
Okay.
filled out the Google form, who want
Okay.
to be on the team, and who have teacher permission, meaning that they're like awesome kiddos, right?
Okay.
And so they go to our leadership meetings. And then a
Okay.
small group, 4 kids out of that, they're used to do restorative circles between our younger kids, TK through 6.
Okay.
Partnered now with our wellness coach, because we have the wellness coach interns, they lead circles.
Okay.
Those kiddos, they have, like, a PowerPoint that they go through that they developed, um, and they talk about, "Okay, so now you said your part, you do this, we have a talking piece," we do the whole thing, uh,
Wow.
and I try to do it only with the 7th, 8th graders that are on the team with the younger, not
Yeah.
so much peer to peer, although last year
Okay.
I did do it peer to peer.
Okay.
So it kind of varies depending on what's happening.
Situation. Yeah.
But right now it's more older and younger, right? Because
Okay.
they're like the mentors on campus. So I want
Yes.
them
Yes.
to do that.
Okay.
Um, and so yeah, so they run it. And it's always with myself and another teacher or somebody else on the panel, and they talk to the kiddos. And so if they're running circles, there's always an adult present. They go through their PowerPoint. If they're on the panel, that's more extreme. Somebody has really messed up our community, and we need to talk about, the list of how to re-enter. And we all agree, and the parent can join that one.
Oh,
And then
wow.
we all sign off, and then we follow the re-entry, and then they come back or whatever that the
Wow.
parent decides. So
Oh my gosh. I'm blown away.
we
So much
we
to think
started that
about.
at Reach. That was a Reach
Okay.
because
Okay.
and when a kid would get suspended, and then they just go back to class, and it's
Mhm.
like, "Wait, what?" And you cannot do that at my
Mhm.
school because
Mhm.
who I served.
Right.
So it forced us to say, "How do we fix this?"
Mhm.
And then we had a pause. So it was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, so now you're back on campus, but you have to show you're ready because we don't want you going in just being knucklehead in
Right.
the class again. You
Right.
gotta, repair harm." So all I did was take that, and then when I came here,
All you did. That is not all you did.
ah,
Just so you know. But okay. Continue.
I, it, there, it works. It works.
Oh my
And
god.
not everybody buys what you're selling. Not everybody is
Yeah.
a fan. But I will say, we used to have at a former school a restorative room that was pretty much you got a referral, you sat there, you talked to the counselor and got sent back.
Mhm.
That was not restorative.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
learned from that, and I
Mhm.
heard the teachers, and I heard the students, and so
Mhm.
now it's just, this is what we do, and
Okay.
parents, if they're here, we're a school of choice, and this is what we do, and
Okay.
you may hate that mom because of what their son did, but we
Right.
don't do that on this campus, so they
Yeah.
are gonna be in class together, they are
Yes.
going to be okay, and you're gonna have to trust that, and,
Okay.
it works.
Okay. So of your ABC model, so attendance, behavior, and the C was classroom, right?
It's coursework.
Coursework. Okay. So you've shared the behavior. We talked about attendance. Now, and just within the context, I just want people to remember that she had to turn the school around in a year. So these are all things that
It's true.
each of these. in and of itself could take a year or 2 years to, implement and get results the way that you and your team have. So, the coursework. So
Yeah.
to increase test scores, all of these things have to be in place, but instruction, I would imagine, would have to look different.
Yes.
So what did you do in shifting Shifting instruction is challenging, because teachers pour so much heart and time into what they do and how they do things, and change is easy for some, but it's really challenging for other people, right? Just the confidence, "Can I do this? Do I have the skills to do this?" So, how did you lead instruction at your site to get this 19% in ELA and 11% in math, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So, we are Howard Gardner. And for anybody who doesn't know who he is, multiple intelligences is his base. It's his foundation that we all learn differently based on our multiple intelligence. I'm existential. I always wonder why, and I try to figure it out. And once I have that, I can go.
Mhm.
My daughter is kinesthetic. She does things through movement. And some of us are linguistic, and we talk through things or whatnot. So we started changing the way we took our curriculum that is, textbook and computer based and bringing it to life through multiple intelligence. It was very important. And we do projects. So it's kind of like a blend of project based learning with multiple
Okay.
intelligence.
Okay.
So,
So was it that your team was locked in to, like, this is the vision, the urgency? Like, were they willing to change? Because you even saying, like, "We started doing," like, the idea to start doing can sometimes be a long road. So, like, I guess if you can just tell me, like, what helped your team lock in, and then, like, what you guys did to teach through the
so
intelligences.
one thing I want to go back to is that I do the surveys. And at
Okay.
the beginning of the year when I came, one of the thing was we are called Howard Gardner and we do multiple intelligences, but we are not taught how to do it. And
Mm,
we're not implementing like our namesake.
okay.
And so I already knew that people wanted to do it, but didn't know how.
Okay, got you.
So we did training. There's always
Okay.
lots of PDs happening.
Okay,
And,
okay,
we have an amazing, phenomenal coach,
okay,
who's on our campus every day. She's amazing. A shout
okay,
out actually Elizabeth Gordon.
okay.
And she goes and she helps them implement different things that we do in our PDs
Mm,
so it doesn't die there, right?
love it, okay.
And
So it's
so
not just one and done.
no, and
Uh-huh,
they wanted it was their voice. Most of the things that I did was because they said they didn't like how it was currently being done, and,
mhm,
they wanted change, and
right,
so we said, "Okay, well, we our namesake, so multiple intelligence, so I want to see if you have a slide in math, we're not direct instruction, we're not up there and
mhm,
A and B and b it's, okay, get the kids up and moving, right? We have different tables of different activities, have them use their multiple intelligence to learn about it, bring it to life, and then that would help. And so, like, we do
wow,
like kind of showcases of learning. And so that
yes,
was a reflection of like what we do
okay,
to the students that we serve or
okay,
for the students that we serve to help them learn content. So
okay,
honestly, I hate directive instruction. I hate it.
yeah, yeah,
You got to bring it to life. I
yes,
Otherwise people
yeah,
would go and do independent online stuff. Like,
right, exactly,
we're in a classroom to collaborate, to learn. I want my teacher to teach me, but I also want to talk with my friend and work
mhm,
through this and am
mhm,
I coming at it from the right way? So the teachers got coaching and
okay,
PD. Um,
okay,
and when we would go in and say, so on this slide, do this, we had another amazing teacher come in and demonstrate how she brings math to life and
uh,
using different. So I had peer to peer modeling. Um,
okay,
how my current teacher is doing this. And
okay,
so that helped. And then they would all talk. And then we allowed space and time to map out how can I bring this to life? What do I need? Blah, blah, blah. They got to order supplies and stuff. And then that
okay,
helped.
so talk about the time and space, because that is an issue in schools. It's easy to say, like, "Oh, I gave them time and space." It's not easy to give teachers time and space, because especially during the school day, because kids are there and they have to teach. So what structures did you put in place? One, so that they could do that collaboration and planning together, and then I just kinda wanna pull out, I would imagine you like, you have to create a safe space for your teachers to grow and to learn because mistakes are gonna happen. So if you can talk about the structures and if you might not know, it may just be part of who you are where you made your team feel comfortable, but if there's things that you did, so that they had permission to struggle and fail to figure it out.
Yeah, so
Like, getting the, like, how did you
the
create,
first
like, the time and space during the day, like,
time and
so that
space.
they could get the support and, like, collaborate to figure that out?
Got it. So districts have release days. We're
Okay.
charters. So we, in our schedule, in our
Mhm.
master calendar, we created PD days. So
Mm,
kids don't come, but we do. And
okay.
so that helped us this year. We did that, and that has been
Okay.
amazing.
Okay.
And then what we did was other kids, I just paid for subs and
Okay.
I sent them off campus across the street. There's this wonderful little place where you can hold meetings. That's
Okay.
where they go. So they're not
Okay.
on campus. They don't have distractions. They are to focus on the task at hand.
Yes.
And they meet in groups and they go and we look at data or we look at curriculum. And so that way, 100% they're focused on
Nice.
what they need to do.
Right.
And then we have a sub system that is amazing, and our subs return time after time. So they already
That's
know our
big.
kids and what we
Okay.
do. So that helps kind of, we don't worry about campus as much because we know
Yeah.
everything's going to run
Right.
the way we
That's
do it.
really cool because, teachers have so much, so not requiring necessarily that they come after school or before school. It's like during their professional time that they get to, participate in the professional development. So paying for subs so that they can do that. And I just wanna say, like, a data point, subs returning is a huge data point. Those are like the receipts for all the things that you've been saying in addition to the data, but that's huge. So when subs wanna come back to a site that they feel like it's managed well, the kids are nice, the adults are nice, and they don't mind spending their time there because subbing, that's like real like that's G work. That's really that's really challenging, so
Subs are really cool too. Like they vibe. They fit the vibe. They
yeah,
understand what we do and they believe in it. And yeah.
okay.
Um,
And so
and
yeah, go ahead.
so how we implement it. So
Yeah,
peer to peer is huge.
okay.
What I do and what Miss Elizabeth does is when we meet with teachers, we kind of lay out expectations, groundwork, how to do it, what we have done in our
Mhm,
educational experiences and such. And then we rely on what is happening in the classrooms.
mhm,
How are I heard you are doing this. How
mhm.
how did you bring that to life? And so then
Okay.
peer to peer time. Um,
Mhm,
but also allowing the same, like, expert in that area to say, "But when I first started it, it was a mess." And
ah,
so asking them to be vulnerable and say, like, what worked, what didn't work, what might, you say to the next person, "Don't try that," 'cause that's,
yeah,
um, and allowing them to rely on their peers for that. And then when they're
okay.
like, "Here's where here's our point of confusion." It's like, "Okay, got
Mhm,
you." So then that's
okay,
where Elizabeth and I can step back in and say, "Here's," or I hear the plan and say, "Okay, I gotta push back for you because
mhm,
what about when this happens?" And then they're like,
okay,
"Ah," and then they'll go to their team and, like, work again. So we just kinda work through those on those days, and then
okay,
touching on that throughout the,
okay,
school year of, like,
okay.
what's working, what's not, and what
Mhm.
do you need?
Yeah, I hope people hear too, just the trust, that you have from your team because nobody can learn anything new in a gotcha environment, with somebody who is inauthentic, with somebody who doesn't really show in their actions that they care about kids and they care about the community. So I think that's really cool too. In such a short amount of time, you were able to create a space where your staff could be vulnerable to learn something new, for students, so, yeah. So, I always get in trouble, the podcast studio, she was like, "I'm gonna get you a timer."
I'm so sorry. I
'Cause I'm all like because but I can't help it, like, they're just important things that I think that people need to hear, especially school leaders, like, we want to have the same impact that you have, but there are things that we need to think about, so to have somebody like you and I can try to pull that out, it's important, so
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I mean, I
No,
really enjoyed this.
thank you, and I didn't, I don't think any of my questions, but I'm gonna ask you the last one.
Okay. Alright.
Okay. So do you have advice for existing or emerging leaders? Do you have advice for us, on how we can like serve better, support better so that we can improve outcomes for like our staff and our students.
Imposter syndrome is real.
Mm.
You are in the place where you are supposed to be at the time you're supposed to be in it. Know that and live it. I have entered communities and worlds where I thought I was not good enough to be in, that I was not, I couldn't hold, a conversation or whatnot. And let me tell you, we're all humans. We're all humans, and we all are learning from each other. And so give yourself grace, but also realize that you are a principal or an executive director or a superintendent because of who you are and what you've brought to the table. And don't let anybody take that away from you. And live in your moment and believe in yourself. And then, of course, have a wonderful system of human beings to help you both personally and professionally, of course. But just know that you are there for a reason and you're doing good work.
Thank you so much. You are powerful.
Oh, thank
Like,
you.
yeah, just your energy, your presence, your humility. Like, "Oh, we just did this." Like, you're so incredible, so I can't wait to even just see what you're gonna do. Like, you're giving me superintendent energy, so I'm so glad that I know you.
Maybe we'll speak that into the world.
But that's what we need. We need people who, can impact systems and then can spread that so we can do better for our students. So thank you. How'd you enjoy the ride on the school bus today? It was a little bumpy.
Loved it. Loved it. And felt
So
so safe. So thank you for allowing that
thank
space.